The 2023 Oklahoma Sooners edition of the Big 12 Experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks, contests, including our NFL win totals contest with a $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And we are also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app to get last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Use the promo code CFBX for $20 off. That is the promo code CFBX. And finally, we are also brought to you by DraftKings. It's football season, so make sure you go download the app now and use the promo code DGEN. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code DGEN. And welcome, everybody, back to the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Final week of season previews, and we got one of the two schools exiting our great league called the Big 12, and that is the Oklahoma Sooners, a.k.a. Boomer Sooner. I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins. And joining me on this Oklahoma Sooners episode, he is the co-host here on the Big 12 College Experience, and he's an Oklahoma Sooner fan himself. He's the Big 12 guru, and he's always fighting a family civil war, most often in the state of Oklahoma, between the Cowboys and Sooners. Give it up for Troy Chewning. What is up, man?
What's going on? I think it's funny that just thinking about Oklahoma made Rush sick and he couldn't join us, but props to him for being such a big, BYU and West Virginia fan that he doesn't even want to spend a second thinking about the Sooners, which if I wasn't raised the way that I was, I don't know if I'd be as proud of the Oklahoma team, but a little bit of bias. I've always had a space in my heart for this team, so stuck watching them.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because I feel like Oklahoma may be one of the more unknown teams now in the Big 12. And you're not used to saying that because you're used to whether it's Bob Stoops or Lincoln Riley. They were basically an automatic 10 wins. I mean, it was, okay, cast you over here. You see everybody watch on youtube.com/TCE sees the over-under win total at 9.5. About the last 15 years, that was an auto overplay. But now, year two of the Brent Venables era. Last year, I think it's safe to say, Troy, a year to forget for Sooner fans because that was just a complete train wreck. Worst defense in the Big 12. Finished 6-7 overall. They sucked against the spread, 5-8. They finished tied for last in the Big 12 at 3-6. Where did it go wrong? I'll throw it right out there to you. Put it on a tee for you. Where did it go wrong for the Oklahoma Sooners in year one of the Brent Venables era?
Well, we were just talking about this before the show, but where it went wrong was they were going to get the old defensive coordinator at Oklahoma before he went to Clemson, and then now back as the coach, Brent Venables. They were going to go get him because they needed help with their defense, and the Oklahoma offense has been kind of a train that just churns and churns and churns. They get, whether it's transfers or just random people playing better than you think, but they've been able to put up points. And if you look last year when Dillon Gabriel was healthy, that didn't seem to be much of a problem. I mean, there were a few games that you wish you had more, but I think it went wrong because Brent Venables came over from Clemson in the league that Clemson's talent just outclasses everyone, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and that he could play one certain style or a few certain styles and dictate everything in a league that's got, you've got Kansas State teams that run the ball right down your throat, and then you go to Lubbock and Texas Tech wants to throw the ball 55 times. And it just seemed like he wasn't really prepared for having to make all of these adjustments as much as he's going to be asked to do so.
I agree. I mean, just looking at the points that they gave up, they got off to a 3-0 start. Yeah, the schedule was soft, but I mean, it went to Lincoln, Nebraska, and I know Nebraska was in a transition year, but I mean, anytime you can go on the road and still win by 5 touchdowns, that's a good win. But after that, I mean, the wheels fell off. Got absolutely gashed by K-State in a primetime game in the Big 12 opener. They ended up only losing by 7, but that really was a 2-touchdown game, and they basically just got punked the entire way. Then they go to TCU and just get absolutely housed. You mentioned it. TCU kind of just threw the ball all over the field. Dillon Gabriel gets hurt. And then the cherry on top, and I think all Oklahoma fans want to forget this one, was the 49-0 ass whipping they took from Texas, the biggest defeat in Oklahoma Sooners history in the Red River rivalry. So just a year to forget. I mean, other games too. I mean, they give up 38 to Baylor, 51 to Texas Tech, and you knew it was bad when they lost to West Virginia, too, for the first time in the Big 12 era. So just a year to forget for the Oklahoma Sooners. Do you, just outside looking in before we dive into what they did in the transfer portal, off seasons, additions, subtractions, do you think Venables has it going in the right direction headed into year number 2? I've heard mixed things. I mean, I think it's safe to say his seat's hot, even though it's only his second year.
His seat's definitely hot. I don't know if there's, just because of their schedule, I don't know if there's going to be a spot where things get so bad that they fire him in the middle of the year. In fact, I think he's got things going the right way. I think he's finally able to bring in a couple of players that, you know, are guys that he's gone out of the way to get instead of just working with what's ever already there. And it's just when you bring back a quarterback that's as talented and has played as much as Dillon Gabriel, you kind of have that safety valve. Like, you know, you're going to be able to sneak out a few games that you probably wouldn't have won if you had to be developing a quarterback or working with some other kind of a transfer or something like that. Dillon Gabriel bailed them out last year. They probably should have had an even worse record than they had last year. And he bailed them out of a few games, and I fully expect him to do that again this year. Actually, health determinant, but I went to that Cheez-It Bowl against Florida State, and I mean, none of the NFL guys, none of the real starters were playing. Dillon played, and he kind of had a team that might have been the best game that they played all year. Was their 3-point loss to Florida State. They did go a little, maybe 10 or 12 minutes without scoring a point, but throughout that game, it looked like the backups were playing their ass off for them. So, I mean, maybe things are at least trending upward. I can't say that they're spiking upwards. You definitely want to look at that plus 450 Big 12 championship bet, something like that. I think that might be a little too much, but the 9.5 is reachable, I believe. I don't know. It might be the ceiling. The over might be the ceiling, but I think it's reachable.
Yeah, I think it's so ironic because everybody points to they lost Caleb Williams, and that was the reason why they collapsed. Yeah, they lost Lincoln Riley too. They lost the package deal, but it wasn't the offense that was bad. Dillon Gabriel was good when he played, and like you said, if Dillon Gabriel wasn't there, they probably would have been a 3-9 team with how bad that defense is. We will go in. We'll talk about it. This is the softest schedule in the Big 12. I don't know what Oklahoma did to get this on the way out, but we'll dive into the schedule and the 2023 Oklahoma Sooners. But after we talk about DraftKings, because like I said, you've waited all year and the time has finally come. College football is back, and so are the traditions of tailgates, and that means great offers at the DraftKings Sportsbooks. Right now, new customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. Just looking ahead to week number 0, my favorite play probably of the weekend is I'm going to go with an old Mountaineer Rich Rod on the money line against UTEP. They're going to win their first FBS game, so that's my favorite week 0 play. Kick off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use the promo code DGEN. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any college football bet. Only on the DraftKings Sportsbook when you use the code DGEN. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800 gambler. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPE New York. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In partnership with Hollywood Casino and Charlestown Races, all games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for the gambling problem. Call 888-789-77 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of the Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 or older in most eligible states must age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. And we are also brought to you by Game Time. And like you said, DraftKings is back. So is Game Time because football season is here. If you're looking, if you're an Oklahoma Sooner fan, you got a couple home games. Who we got? Arkansas State and SMU to start off the season right. Things are tough around in the economy right now. Inflation's up, so you're probably like, I don't have the funds right now to buy these tickets. Or you want to go to the Red River Shootout at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. If you go to Game Time to get the best possible prices where you could just do it last minute. You don't have to plan it all the way out. Game Time is a perfect place for last minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball concerts, and comedy and theater. The Game Time guarantee means you will always get the best price if you find the tickets in the same section. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Then that is the promo code CFBX. That is, snag the tickets without stressing the Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Woo! That was a tongue twister there. We're back on the Big 12 college experience, talking Oklahoma Sooners 2023. Those watching on youtube.com/TCE, see the win total set at 9.5. Troy already teased it out, plus 450 to win the Big 12, plus 6,500 to win the national championship for the first time since Bob Stoops. Early lean here, Troy. I think 9.5 is correctly set.
Yeah, I think 9.5 is going to be a tough one for me to lock either way. I could see them winning 10 games, but I don't think that I could see myself being confident enough to place a bunch of money on them winning 10 games. Yeah, I mean, you said something right before the break. This is probably the toughest schedule in the league, too. I mean, they must be thankful for what Oklahoma has been doing for the Big 12 for them to get this. I mean, not just the teams and who they play and where, but even having like Iowa State early enough in the year, like they knew the gambling issues were going down. We're gonna set them up early in the year. They got a lot of things to go their way. So early lean, I'll say that they come up right at that 9 or 10 win marker.
I'm going under. I mean, just based off of the same logic I'm applying to Texas, where yes, their target's not as big as Texas because, I mean, everybody listening to this podcast, this is a horns down podcast. So the target is not as big, but they still are leaving the league. They chose to leave the league. They're not going to get the benefit of the whistle. So I do think they're not going to be 6 and 7 bad, but I don't see them winning double-digit games. But let's talk about what they did in the transfer portal and some of the additions on the offensive and defensive side. Any moves in particular that got some buzz going around Norman right now, Troy?
They had an offensive tackle that was going to transfer from Stanford to Nebraska, and 3 days later decided that he would rather be in Norman. Walter Rouse he's a pretty good should really help an offensive line that lost a few people in the transfer portal as well. But man, getting the edge rusher Trace Ford from Oklahoma State to come to Norman fucking crazy, man. I can't believe like that if you're transferring to a school like Oklahoma, then your options aren't like Oklahoma and Marshall. Like there's plenty of other schools that could use your talent if Oklahoma wants it.
Absolutely ridiculous. If you had the shotguns that Colby shoots on his show, how the hell do you go from Oklahoma to Oklahoma State, or Oklahoma State to Oklahoma, or to Texas? All about guys having the freedom to transfer, but you are not allowed to transfer to your arch rival. That's absolutely disgusting.
These NIL collectives are going to start signing that into these contracts, right? Like if you go to Ohio State, you can't transfer to Michigan, especially if you take $120,000 from us. You're going to have to go to, Florida International or go down to Boca Raton and go to FAU or something like that. Like even go to Michigan State, but not fucking Michigan.
No.
Of course, these kids, you hang a bag of money in front of them, they're going to take it. I would do the same thing. But when you think about the difference, it's not like the NIL collective at Oklahoma is dropping extra $200,000 for Trace Ford instead of him going to Florida or somewhere like that. It's just crazy. Some of these transfers are wild. I mean to mention another one. Austin Stogner transferred with his boy Spencer Rattler to South Carolina and just transferred back to Oklahoma this year. So he went to South Carolina to beat Clemson and get some revenge for his new boy Brent Venables, and then just came back.
I was just about to say, people talk about losing Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. They also lost Rattler, who went and had a decent year. He still is so up and down. It's hard for me to get. Yeah, he lost his job for a reason, and that things were not going in the right direction with Spencer Rattler. That's why they went to Caleb Williams, who's going to be the number one pick of the draft. But let's talk. I guess Drake May could, but I'll put my money on Caleb Williams. I'll take Caleb Williams. I know Oklahoma fans don't want to hear that, but let's talk offensive side of things. Dillon Gabriel. How are you feeling about the offensive? What's the vibes in Norman this year coming in with this offense that was good last year?
If it's just vibes, the real issue is just at the wide receiver position, and they still have the Farouk kid was pretty good, pretty big catch radius if I remember right. There are a lot of balls that were probably going to be dropped at the college level that he was able to bring in. They get Stogner back at tight end, who's played there before and decided to leave for a year and come back. But if it's just vibes, the last time they won a national title was with Josh Heupel, so that lefty quarterback thing seems to work for Oklahoma. And
no doubt,
I know they were when Colby and them were doing the Oklahoma preview, he brought up why does Dillon Gabriel slide so late on some of these runs?
I hate that thing. It's a Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, the bait for the 15-yard penalty, which, I mean, when it works and you get 15 yards and you're into that team, it's kind of cool. But then we see last year that you get fucking clocked in the forehead and you don't even know where you're at for 2 weeks. It's probably not worth 15 yards.
I wish somebody clocked Kenny Pickett that night, because I agree with Colby. Like, okay, it's not the player's fault. It's the stupid rules that we have in place where you can't hit the offensive player anyway. So now the offensive player is baiting you into a 15-yard penalty. That's not football. That's powder puff, whatever bullshit. But I mean, Oklahoma paid the price last year. Troy, if the Oklahoma Sooners are going to get back to being a good defensive football team, what is the reason why this year? Because that's the big question, especially with Venable. I mean, he's a defensive guy. Their defense is supposed to be good, but last year was not the case.
I mean, you're hoping that, kind of like Dave Aranda, you're hoping that he can really help with the linebacking core, because, he was a linebacker. He's supposedly in camp really, really more involved with the linebackers was last year. They've got an Iowa transfer that comes over, Dasan McCullough, that is a pretty good linebacker. If their defense is going to be any good, the Big 12, they're going to have to get pressure, and they're going to have linebackers they're not worried about hitting people. You got to grab people with two arms and hold on to them in the Big 12, or some of these playmakers will just slip right away from you, and you're giving up a 60-yard touchdown on a 7-yard slant route that should have, even if it's completed, get 8-9 yards and hold on to the damn guy. I think a lot of the problems when Oklahoma's been good has been their defense, not just with Venables, even in the past. And a lot of the issues have always been missed tackles more than anything, whether it's over pursuit, like in the Boise State game. You've got all these guys that think that they're the fastest, baddest, strongest guys because we play at Oklahoma, and they don't, play their own position and trust that everybody else on the field is going to be able to make that play. You got to back to that, kind of stay at home, keep contained. Maybe Oklahoma could benefit from like a bend don't break style and give that offense a chance to score 45 points or something like that.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Tackling was a big thing last year, and that's why they got gashed by the run game, but especially by Kansas State. I mean, it felt like K-State was doing whatever they wanted that night. Whether it was Martinez keeping it, giving it to Deuce. I mean, it was 5-6 yards a carry. They had no shot. And I mean, it carried over, and you lose games like West Virginia by just completely running the ball right down their throat. That's all they did to them. So we will go game by game on the 2023 Oklahoma Sooner preview. But before we do that, we got to talk about our SGP Patreon, because make sure you check out our Patreon. Sign up today for the Patreon to get access to exclusive contests, including the NFL Win Totals contest with a $1,000 first place prize. The guys just recorded their first sports gambling podcast stories just for you patrons, chronicling the birth of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. There is even a Discord channel for all you patrons out there. That place is going to be absolutely popping for week 0. So get over there. That is the Sports Gambling Podcast, and we'll always give out their picks for free. And this is a great way to fight back against the corrupt corporate gambling guys out there. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. Reminder, the SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. And football season is back. The NFL right around the corner. Those listening, Oklahoma Sooner fans, you're probably Dallas Cowboy fans or maybe Houston Texans fans. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NFL season is right around the corner, and Underdog NFL Pick'em is a great way to get down on some favorite over-under plays. They even got college football and NFL preseason now. And, of course, make sure you enter the Best Ball Mania, where first place gets $3 million. That's maybe enough to buy out Venables if they don't win enough games here. Actually, no, it's not enough to buy him out. But, hey, might be able to pay for 5% of his buyout. Give an Underdog, pick him. I like I said, I really like that Jack State play. I'm also looking at Ohio U going out to San Diego State. I like the production the Bobcats got coming back. So head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% bonus deposit up to $100. That is the UnderdogFantasy.com promo code SGPN. And we are back on the Big 12 College Experience talking Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma. Final year in the Big 12. Coming off, the first losing season since Jesus was born? I mean, they never have a losing season in Norman. So let's get right into it. Troy, they are going to be 2-0, correct? They got Arkansas State and SMU, but you do have a trap game in here that you teased in before we got on air.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a full trap game, but I do think that you should keep your eyes open in that SMU game. I mean, it's in Norman, so it's very, very unlikely. But I think SMU's got the program moving in the right direction and being able to legally pay players. SMU's about to be right back. I mean, they were doing the NIL before motherfuckers knew what that was, so they're going to be right back.
They got so much money. They said, we don't even need the share from the ACC. We'll just join the league for free. We'll get on the back end. Pay us on the back end. Backload our contract.
I do think you mark them down for 2-0 though.
Yeah, I can't see SMU. And
also that Venables buyout, I think, is $7 million.
Oh shit! I thought it was more than that. So they might be able to buy him out. Maybe that Underdog $3 million is a
nice
nice
put him over the edge.
Yeah.
If T-Boone Pickens was there, he would have been gone after the Texas game, I bet.
Well, we're about to talk about that game here in about a couple games, because if he loses any of the first two, and then if he loses this next one, he might be canned right away. And they got a big time road game here. They're going to Tulsa, where they're going to have 80% Oklahoma Sooner fans. So you got him 3-0.
Yeah, I do have them 3-0. I think it's funny that they're like the big power conference team is going out of their way to play a group of 5 on the road, and it's fucking a little farther northeast.
You fucking Oklahoma people, you guys are taking a page out of Alabama. They're going to South Florida this year and to play at the Buccaneer Stadium, where I'm sure it'll be a hostile road environment with 75% Roll Tide crowd. So the reason, quick note, the reason that this schedule is soft, it's not completely Oklahoma's fault. Greg Sankey canceled the Georgia-Oklahoma game. Which game did they replace it with? Was it the Tulsa game?
I don't know if it was Tulsa or the SMU one, but just it had to be Tulsa because it's group of 5 on the road, right? Like,
yeah, maybe.
As soon as you're looking to fill a spot and on notice, and Tulsa's like, hell yeah, we'll take $500,000. I wonder how much they're paying. We need to find that out. How much they're paying Tulsa to take the buses a little further northeast and barely even play anybody.
Yeah, no, that thing, I can't. They've played at Tulsa in the past. If I remember correctly, I'm sure that I'll get corrected by all the Oklahoma fans. They absolutely annihilated them.
Yeah, when you say that there's going to be 80% Oklahoma fans, I think that might be a little low.
I'm trying to give Tulsa a bone, man. I mean, their program is so bad.
I mean, it's not a knack on Tulsa, but like, you don't even have to go to school in the state of Oklahoma to root for Oklahoma. Like, that's your pro football team. So I'm thinking more about like 92%.
You might be right. So, all right. So that sets up a back-to-back road spot, quote, back-to-back road spot. You got to go to Cincinnati. This is going to be big noon kickoff on Fox. So this is an interesting spot because that Cincinnati's going to be absolutely jumping for this because it's their Big 12 opener. It's a parade there. Could the Bearcats get them here?
I think it could be close. They get
definitely take the points.
I understand that it's the like their Big 12 opener, their first game in the league and all that, but and they get Nippert in the beginning of the year, and Cincinnati, they kind of have a couple of tough non-con games. It might not be as packed and as raucous as you think. I know they do a great job there at Nippert, and they barely have lost at home in the last few years, but
yeah,
I don't think I can give them the win. I think you do want to take the points, though. I wonder there's not going to be a look at line by now.
No, but I would imagine it's probably going to be around 10.
Yeah, I would say if it's anything double digits, I think you take the points there. I could see Oklahoma winning this game by like 8 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah. No, I think on the Cincinnati preview, I did give them the win, but I think Oklahoma will get out of here alive. So I'll have to do my amends on the back end. So we got them Oklahoma 4-0. Then they go to – damn. So I had Iowa State winning in Norman because Matt Campbell always plays well there. But I don't know if I can do that now with all the uncertainties, although they might be back better without Deckers betting on the games and throwing interceptions. Might be addition by subtraction.
Yeah, it could be just from a player standpoint, it could really be addition by subtraction. I think the whole like media and bullshit around it is not going to be addition by subtraction. That's all the questions they're going to be answering and talking about is not going to have anything to do with what happens on the football field. Now, if they go to Norman and win the game, that could be, the whole Matt Campbell stop fucking talking about the gambling thing. We're 5 weeks into this season now and we're playing football. But I'm not going to give it to Iowa State just because of everything that's going on there. If we were to redo the Iowa State preview right now, the schedule, there would be 4 more losses, I think, on there than I gave them just because there's so many questions. No, I'm going to go with Oklahoma here.
So I got Oklahoma too. Although I think this is going to be close as well. I don't think they're going to blow out Iowa State, even though they'll be shorthanded. They'll go in there, they'll make it a game because it's a look ahead to the game where they were absolutely embarrassed last year, and that was against the Texas Longhorns. So we got them 5-0 headed to the Red River Shootout. Absolutely embarrassed last year. Lost by 49. Worst loss in program history in this great rivalry. You got payback here, or you think the Longhorns got too much?
Just with how poor the tackling was last year and the Longhorns having, tons of playmaking talent. I don't know if you can give it to Oklahoma. I don't think it's going to be 49-0.
It better not be, or he's getting fired after the game.
They could be 5-0 and lose that game 49-0 again. He might be gone.
Yeah. No, he get the I can't pronounce the guy at Navy's treatment after they lost to Army and they fired him in the locker room. That's what they would do. They would pull the Lane Kiffin and not let Venables back on the plane if they lost 49-0 again. So are you giving this to Texas?
Yeah, I'm going to give this one to Texas just to kind of be a little bit unbiased. I think it'll be a pretty dang close game. I think this is especially it's going to be something that the SEC wants to showcase on Big 12 dollars and Big 12 television. Yeah. They want these two teams really in well against one another, and I think you're going to get that, sadly.
They should put this game on ESPN Plus. Fuck this game. I'll give it to Texas just because I don't think Oklahoma will start 6-0. If they drop Cincinnati or Iowa State, like got picked off by maybe Cincinnati, you know what? I'll say they lose at Cincinnati and then they beat Texas. That way I can just say that they beat Texas. Either way, 5-1. We're both got them at 5-1 headed into the second half. Then they got the bounce house coming to Norman. This is coming off a bye though?
Yeah, this is a bye for Oklahoma after a Texas loss for me. I think this is a very challenging game, but I think that the bye might make me lean to Oklahoma here. UCF could see something in that Texas game and really think, we've got the offense and the speed on offense to just put guys in positions on defense to not make plays. If that's something that they notice, I'm going to give this one to Oklahoma. I mean, this is Dillon Gabriel revenge game. So
yes,
this could be, and in Norman, this could be the Dillon Gabriel like 4 or 5, 6 touchdown game.
I think I agree. I think and looking back last year too, when they lost to Texas, they had a good bounce back against Kansas. I think it's a similar situation. I'll take the Sooners. We both got them 6-1. Here we go. They head to Lawrence, where they almost lost a couple years ago when Caleb Williams was quarterback. So no slapdick playing quarterback for the Sooners that day. They barely got out of there alive. They had to have a miraculous 4th down conversion. Do the Jayhawks get him this year? They almost got him in Norman last year.
I think the Jayhawks might win all their home games this year. Yeah, I've got Kansas winning this one. I think this is one of the quarterbacks in the league that can probably outclass Dillon Gabriel. And, of course, we're assuming they're both standing up and playing in this game. But,
yeah, big if.
By the point in the season, if Kansas is anywhere near when we did the preview on them, this place is going to be rocking. I mean, they're going to be doing the Fog Allen chant outdoors. It's going to be kind of wild. I might throw up a little bit, but yeah, I got Kansas taking this one against Oklahoma.
So do I. And another reason is because they have who they have on deck, and that sets up the finale, as they say. And Coach Gundy said, I ain't playing them. They're leaving. And so they're going to Stillwater Saturday, November 4th. That game's going to be at 7:30. Time is TBD. I can give you the time. It's going to be 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Prime time. The mullet's going to be back. He's got a silent confidence about him. Everybody's picking against him. Troy, your two teams here. Family Civil War. Who wins it? The final time, Saturday, November 4th.
I don't think the mullet's going out with that kind of attitude without, really, really circling this game on the goddamn schedule. I mean, they're gonna.
Oh yeah.
This is so cool that they get it in Stillwater too. That it's the last game. They don't even have to go to Norman. Yeah, I'm fucking taking Oklahoma State here. It's just too funny. Our OAN boy Gundy is gonna get this one done. You might see 3 or 4 trick plays out of him.
Hey, Oklahoma's owned this series. Not this night. Gundy is winning this fucking game, and you Sooner fans can take that to the bank. Let's go, Gundy. Oklahoma State wins the finale in Stillwater, so we got him 6-3. Where's our picture of our guy? Because he subscribed to the Big 12 College Experience. There he is, Coach Gundy's ready to go. He got the mullet there, right off the fishing trip. Our guy, Oklahoma State to Dallas. Go check out the Oklahoma State preview. 6-3. So we got them losing 2 in a row. Come back home, played my West Virginia Mountaineers. This is kind of a trap spot as well. I know they've lost 2 in a row, but West Virginia kind of has the blueprint to beat them with the way they can run the football like K-State can.
I don't think they lose that Oklahoma State game in Stillwater and then lose to West Virginia afterwards. I think if this was maybe a week later, like if they had to go to BYU and play 3 straight road games or something like that, you could see Venables fired and West Virginia having a way better shot. But I think because of where it's located at on the schedule, I'm going to have to go Oklahoma getting right against Virginia. But again, this could be one, if Neil Brown sticks around, it's just getting hotter and hotter for Brent Venables at this point if they don't beat West Virginia by at least 2.5 touchdowns or something like that. Like if they beat West Virginia by a field goal or 7 points or something, man, it's going to be sauna hot.
Yeah, I think it is going to be sauna hot. I think Oklahoma barely wins like 2 years ago when Rattler was quarterback and they barely beat West Virginia.
What was that, like 40-40 or something like that?
No, that one was randomly. It was like 16-13. It was a random low-scoring game in September. I think it's a low-scoring. West Virginia controls the clock with their ground attack, but Oklahoma just has enough. Also, the situation favors Oklahoma. Like you said, potentially off 2 straight losses, come back home to Norman. So we got them 7-3. By the way, they've already hit the under on our projection because the best they can do is 9-3. You got to go to Provo, the last road game of the year. They ain't going to Provo and winning.
This late, that's going to be a rough game for them to get to. I have Oklahoma winning this game, but I have this one as a straight coin flip. I got them winning because I'm an Oklahoma fan. More than likely, that's the only little bias that pushed it anyway in that direction. But man, if they struggle against West Virginia and it's a close game, then I don't think they'll go to Provo and do anything special there. This could be trouble here on the end of what looks like a soft schedule, and then you just kind of get hit with the back-to-back Kansas Oklahoma State weeks. That could be, real derail of the train.
Troy, they better get off to a 5-0 start with the way that this thing loads up at the back end, kind of like our TCU preview that we did. I got BYU winning. They got this thing circled. They beat Bradford back in the day. They've always played Oklahoma and Texas well. I got BYU, so 7-4. You got them 8-3. Final game in the Big 12. TCU, I believe on the TCU preview we had TCU. Or no, we had Oklahoma winning. Correct?
Yeah, and I had Oklahoma winning there too, and I still want to stick with that. I think Oklahoma's a little more proud of what they did in the Big 12, and I think the rest of the league, we've said this before, it's not quite like Texas in terms of that target on their back. It's still there. It's a much smaller bullseye, and there's a lot more room for, wow, they really did kind of carry the football side of this league for a while. I think, playing at home, last Big 12 game, this could be ugly for TCU.
Well, and it was ugly last year, so I do buy into the finale, the revenge angle. So I'll take Oklahoma. I got them finishing 8-4. You got them at 9-3. So we're both on the under. Do they get to Dallas? I don't think they get to Dallas.
I don't think you can lose to Kansas and Oklahoma State back to back and get to Dallas. I think if those teams win that Oklahoma game, then that means that they're going to have the tiebreaker over you or probably a game up over you. No, I really don't think they do. It would be a great year for them to get there, but there's just too many questions on the defensive side of the ball that we don't know how they're going to play. And a couple of these teams are, I mean, Oklahoma State for sure is going to be wanting to send them out with a bang and getting some of these teams' best shots. They could even, instead of going 8-4, they could even drop one more and only one more game this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So let's play the game. They go 7-5, 4-5 in Big 12 on the way out, or say they lose the West Virginia game that we're talking about. 7-5.
I mean, that UCF game is the one that could be, even though it's in Norman. That's that kind of on offense is someone that has always given the Oklahoma team trouble, and specifically to Brent Venables last year. You know, any kind of gashing over the middle has been. We have nothing to do to stop that.
No doubt. And so what happens if they go 7-5 with Brent Venables? So they went from 6-7 to 7-5, whatever they do in the bowl game.
They're probably looking at Josh Heupel's buyout from Tennessee.
I think so too. I think he might need to win 9 games.
Probably does. He probably
with
has
this
to
schedule?
win 9 games.
Yeah.
He probably has to win 9 games, and if somehow he can win that Texas game and it's 9 games, like if they were to drop West Virginia but beat Texas, or if they were to beat Oklahoma State and drop West Virginia, that might pull a little bit, but I still think he's got to get to that 9 number for them to be confident enough. Like, you might not fire him, but how great of a coaching job are you going to do if you know your school's employing you, knowing they're looking for someone else at any point in time? If anyone becomes available that they're targeting, it's see ya.
Yeah, I think if anything less than 9 wins, he's a dead man walking this year or the following year. He may go into, because they're going to the SEC next year. So if they don't win 9 games this year with this soft schedule, he may be back at Clemson. So yeah, we'll see. What's the ceiling for this team? Dallas?
I think 10 wins in Dallas would be their ceiling. I think they would have to win that Texas game, or they're going to have to go on the road to Kansas and win that game, and not have a real slip-up spot. And just based on the performance last year and kind of the whole Oklahoma thing, that slip-up spot always seems to exist, and it's going to be the one thing I think that holds them back yet again. But you know, if they can get to Texas and win that Red River shootout, it's not a rivalry, it's a shootout. No one going to shoot places up because they watched the Texas-Oklahoma fucking football game. People need to get over themselves. But off that tangent, if they go and beat Texas in the Cotton Bowl and they're 6-0 going into that bye week, again, it could work the opposite way as that Kansas-Oklahoma State road stretch. They could really believe that they're a pretty dang good football team, and you know, looking at TCU and shit like that last year, all you got to do is think you can compete even regardless of what the scoreboard's saying at any time. And the game kind of finds ways to give you a chance to get back in and even it up. You just got to hope that they've got that momentum there if you're an Oklahoma fan.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I got their schedule pulled up from just previous years. That final Saturday in September is always like their hiccup spot. For some reason, whether it was Lincoln Riley, Bob Stoops, now Brent Venables. So I'm looking at that Cincinnati game. That Cincinnati thing's got a trap spot written all over. That's a weird game. So, like you said, if they drop that one all of a sudden and don't get the Texas game, then all of a sudden he definitely would be in trouble. But we will be here every step of the way talking Oklahoma Sooners in their final year in the Big 12. But before we get out of here, Troy, tell everybody where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Troy Chewning, just my full name without any spaces. If you're watching on YouTube, you can read it, but if you're just listening, it's TroyChewning. And we'll have Big 12 coverage. Finally getting through these stupid fucking previews. Would rather watch real football and talk about it than, you know, imagining football. But yeah, even looking at a soft schedule like this, and then you get into the league play, it's like, damn, this conference is going to cannibalize one another. I mean, the more I look at the next 2 teams that we've got to do between K-State and Texas, I'm like, maybe you can lose 3 league games, and maybe only one team loses 2, and there's a 3-way tie with three league losses or something like that.
I think that was our bold take. That I don't even know how bold it is that a 3-loss team was going to end up in Dallas. We just keep doing these schedules, and I feel like everybody has everybody has 4 or 5 losses on the season. I think we've taken all the unders so far on the. Rush took the over on Texas Tech, but I've taken like 3 straight unders now on these teams at the top half of the league.
Yeah, the correction is coming back after teams like West Virginia and Oklahoma State get a couple more league wins than people are predicting. Things are going to be rough for the top teams.
No doubt. I can't wait. It's going to be. I got a feeling this is going to be the funnest league in a long time in the Big 12. And Oklahoma fans, good luck to you in the SEC. You're leaving a hell of a league, and good luck. Good luck in the SEC. You're probably going to need it. You guys can find me at Moneyline_Mac. Always in the Discord. Like Troy said, can't wait for the games. We will. What we got left is K-State and Texas, horns down. Like we said, I can tell you one thing: this podcast is not going to be on that over 9.5 for the Texas with that schedule they got. They don't have Cupcake City like Oklahoma. But yeah, no, we got those 2 left, and then next week we'll start diving into these week 1 matchups, and we will finalize all our season predictions. Where I know we've given out wins on both sides with these different single podcasts, but yeah. Next up, Kansas State Wildcats, defending champs. Good luck with your bets, everybody. Let it ride.